Hi, welcome to SportX, where we talk all things relating to the ever-evolving sports business arena. I'm Gerard Davids, founder of TalkX TV, where we host SportX as a content channel. I'm joined by Clint Paterson, managing partner of Venture 7, or is it Ventures, or Field 7 Ventures, my apologies. I've been butchering your company's name there, Clint. It's a UK-based company with representation in South Africa, and they are active in the tech, the data, Web3, performance, wellness, media, and still not leaving his skill set behind, involved in the commercial rights arena, respectively. But that's a conversation for another day. Today, we'll talk to Clint about a recent comment he posted on LinkedIn about how one should best endeavor to navigate the career challenges faced by many that wants to enter the world or are involved or already in the world of sports business. Now, so welcome. And let's start off with the notion that you highlighted in your post that when one enters the sports industry, you mentioned that it's crucial to consider your own motivations beyond it simply being a love for the sport. Because you said in your post that a mere passion alone for sport may not be enough to sustain and help you to navigate the challenges that will be thrown at you when you get involved with sports business as a career, as an entrepreneur, as an advisor, as a consultant. Explain to us what you meant by that.
Yeah, hi, Gerrit, and thanks for having me. It's been a while, so good to see you again. It's kind of spun off from. I get literally a request, at least many requests every week from other school leavers or young grads or even general people that are in different career sets that are looking to get into the sports industry. And I just felt I remember sitting back in interviews in the days in my previous business, and I always used to ask that question. So why do you want to get into the sports industry? And I mean, I know the answer generally because it's what's driven us mostly, most of us to the sport industry, and it is, largely, our love for the sport. But I think, over the many years, I realized that it has to be beyond just the love, and I'm sure there are many careers like that. But I think the challenge that the sports, or I would say the entertainment and sport kind of industry has, is that it can often be perceived as glamorous, and there's obviously a lot of attraction to it. And I think people often battle to reconcile that. So they look at the product and what they see on TV or what they see when they're growing up, and it looks very polished, it looks very sexy, it looks amazing, right? And certainly everybody is attracted to that. But I think behind the scenes, the reality is that it is a very, very difficult industry, and it's a very ruthless and brutal industry, and it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make that kind of attraction and all of that happen. And I think it's just, for me, I just felt it was kind of necessary to convey that, because like I said, I get asked that very regularly of people how they can get into it. And of course we all love the industry, and it's certainly, for me, it's the absolute best industry in the world to work in. But I think people do need to understand that when they go in, they must go in understanding that it's not all what it seems in terms of what they see often on TV or what they hear.
Yeah, you also said in the article that those looking to enter the world of sports business should, right from the start, recognize that the action behind the glamour of meeting your heroes and entering sacred spaces in the sports industry per se, that there are also hidden scars and flaws that will come your way, and you need to reconcile with that. How best to deal with that for somebody aspiring to enter the world of sports business?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like seeing your favorite magician, working out how he does your favorite trick. Once you get behind, as I said, the ropes, and you do. I mean, we've all been there. I've been young, and you see your sports heroes and your sports stars, up close, and ultimately the novelty does wear off. And I think that's why I say I think you start creating a very different lens. As long as as long as you stay in the industry, your lens starts changing, and it's very difficult to watch sport or the individuals in sport with the same lens you had on when you were kind of a youngster and just watching the sport for what it was. And that's why I say I think it's really important to have a goal beyond just that, because once you've worked out, and that's a good example, you've met your favorite heroes or whatever the case is, you realize they're human and they're just like anybody else. And you need more motivation than that, because ultimately you might find that you're disappointed, or it becomes a normal, career. And I think, and that novelty of the sexiness and the attraction does wear off. There's no doubt. I think once you've seen behind that, and it's like, I suppose it's like a marriage. You have to work at it. That initial attraction, what brought you together, does wane, and you've got to find other ways to kind of find attracted to it. And I think, that's why I said, I mean, for me personally, I've always been passionate about business. I've always been entrepreneurial, and I think, to your point, it's such a difficult space to get into, and it's also a really difficult space to progress because of the different dynamics. But if you have a lot of focus and you know what you want out of it, and I think that's the challenge, is to find what is it that you want in the longer term to make it sustainable, because otherwise you get really burnt out and that novelty wears off, and you have to find something. What is your reason to stay in there for the longer term? Because I've seen so many people, they come in and literally 2, 3 years, 4 years, they're kind of done, and then I'll bump into them again in 5 years later, and they're in like a completely different field. They've moved to like something construction or whatever, building, and it's just, they're tired of it. And I think that's what, for me personally, it was exactly that. I think it was the business side of it that I felt really passionate about, and I wanted to be in those boardrooms. I wanted to understand how everything ticks, and and ultimately, build something in that space for myself. So yeah, I think that's would be, I would say, would be the recommendation that's key beyond, as I said, just the love of sport, because that's just really not going to be enough. And I assume it's probably like that a lot for really any kind of career. It's just that our industry is very, very difficult to reconcile, because of the star attraction and the sexiness and all of that, fun stuff that our industry does bring, because ultimately it's so rewarding when you're part of something and you see the end product. But like I say, it's, if you're going, I've been in the industry for 20 years, so you have to find something to keep passionate about.
Yeah. So essentially, in the post, you advise people to embrace deeper motivations like curiosity. You mentioned being entrepreneurial, have the essential business acumen, and to navigate the complexities of the sports industry, and to maintain your passion, like you just mentioned now, despite these challenges. Lastly, unpack that for us.
Yeah, I think I kind of alluded to it earlier. I think the sport industry, specifically in South Africa, it's quite small, so it's very flat structured. It's very difficult to kind of move up. So if you're someone who's ambitious, or you like to climb the kind of ladder, it's a lot harder to do that in the sport industry. Corporate, you can obviously, there's many ways you can do it, but in the sport industry, it's really, really difficult to do that. People don't really move on, so you have to find a way that then will help you kind of keep that purpose going, because ultimately, if you feel stagnated in any career, I think you're going to get frustrated and you're going to not enjoy it. And I think, again, I would advise people to kind of find what they think that niche could be, because if you just want to try and climb the ladder normally in a sport industry, it's going to be very difficult. You have to find something that makes you different. And I think, yeah, I mean, obviously the easiest way is in the entrepreneurial and the business side, because I think that's where there's a lot of scope. But I mean, the sport industry is so big. There's, it really depends on, I think, the individual. But I think, like I say, for me, it was really around the entrepreneurial side, because ultimately that is, it opens up the doors to anything. You can go to any kind of sporting codes or anywhere really in the sports space. But I think the same could go for like law or for HR or anything like that. There's lots of those types of skills that are needed in our industry. And I think it's about, but again, it's about finding out what is that real deeper passion within that sector, within the sport, that really makes you want to kind of push through all those tough times. And when you see, like I said, it's an amazing industry, but there's a lot of frustrations, a lot of challenges, a lot of really nefarious and not so nice people with wrong motivations and agendas. And you need something. And if you focus on your specific skill set that you're really trying to build, then you can kind of drown out a lot of those distractions. It's very hard to do that all the time. But, if you've got a bigger, longer term goal in mind, you just keep focusing on that. And that was it for me. I think when we started our business, we just knew what we wanted to be, and we dealt with the frustrations along the way, and they never go away. So you have to find a way to deal with them. But for me, it was always about what we were building was more important, and that's, I think, what really helped us kind of, deal with the scars. And we love the scars, I love deal with them every day again.
Yeah, good. Thanks for that sage advice to those aspiring to enter the world of sports business. And perhaps next time we can take the conversation further to talk about the ecosystem that you're currently involved with, tech, data, Web3, and the like, and maybe talk about new career opportunities, be it for to become an entrepreneur in that space or to consult in that space. I think that's perhaps the next topic for our conversation, Clint. That was Clint Paterson, Managing Partner, Field 7 Ventures. I got it right now. Thank you for your time and insights, which is very much appreciated. That is where we would leave it for now. And thank you for watching SportX TV on TalkX TV.